Hello guys, and welcome back to the channel. In today's video I'm going to talk about the 3 key exercises I use and give my patients in order to alleviate knee pain when running. I find anecdotally in clinic that there are 3 main reasons why people get knee pain when running. The first and probably the most common reason is that they have a lack of stability and strength at the end of knee extension. So when the knee is fully extended, they're having an inability to provide the appropriate strength and stability at that point. The second reason, or the second most common reason I see is that they don't have the strength to shock absorb the force coming up through the leg when running downhill. So a lot of knee presentations, I find that people say that they're actually fine when they're running, and it's when they're in a race and there's a little bit of a downhill on the road that the knee pain comes on. And that's probably due to the fact that we build our muscles so well running on flat and even doing some hill repeats. That's all going to work mainly posterior muscles like hamstrings and glutes, but they neglect the anterior side of the thigh, so working into those big quadricep muscles. And when they come to running downhill, where you really need those quads to work as shock absorbers, then they don't have that function there, and that's what's bringing on the knee pain. So that would be the second reason. And then the third reason I see in clinic is that people at the later stage of an endurance race, like in a marathon or even a half marathon, when the body starts to get that build up, that huge amount of fatigue, what's happening is the knees start to knock in. So they get like a knock knee, so the knees are kind of drifting in, and it's usually bilateral, so pain on both sides on the inside of the knee, so in around that medial collateral ligament. And probably what's happening in that scenario is that the glute muscles or the deep external hip rotators aren't strong enough, or they're getting fatigued too much and they're weakening out, and therefore when the foot hits the ground, the knees are buckling in ever so slightly. Get these 3 exercises done and you've got a good chance of eliminating any knee pain or knee issues that you get when you're running. First exercise, and this will be a key favourite of mine for building up that strength and stability at the end range of extension, will be to take a Dynaband and have it looped around the back of the knee, and then starting with your knee in slight flexion, so not fully extended. And what we're going to do is we're just going to extend back that leg and then drop it down and extend it back. So we're really working those muscles at the end range, and we're building up that strength in those muscles, pushing right back. So when you bring it back, you bring it all the way into extension. And then if we want to increase that, we can just stand up straight and do the same thing. So to just see it there from the other angle, it's just standing up, and what we're doing is just extending up that knee, back, extend it, and back. The second exercise then is to build up the strength at the very front, the anterior part of that quadricep, right down through the quadricep tendon, through the patella, and then down into its insertion into that tibia. So from there, we're going to stand on some sort of a heel lift. You can use a foam roller like I am, or you can use some sort of a little foam cushion. And then from there, we're going to drop down into a deep squat and then back up. So as we go down, we're really stressing the front of that knee joint and really trying to incorporate the very lower fibers of that quadricep tendon to build up some strength in them, so that when we get to a part of road where there's a continued decline or a fast section road and we want to pick up our pace in a race, we have the strength and the stability in the knee to withstand those pressures, and therefore relieve us of any sort of knee pain or increased pressure that might lead to some pain. So you can see as I come down that my knee is really drifting over the front of that forefoot, so I'm really getting a real workout through those quadricep tendons, right then into that vastus medialis muscle on the inside of the thigh. Fantastic for building up strength in those muscles. Third exercise, and this is the one that we're going to use to increase the strength of those glutes and those external rotators in the hips. They're the ones that get really fatigued, and then later on in the race you can start to get like almost buckling of the knees, or like knock knees, so you get pain on the, like I said at the start, on the medial collateral ligament of both knees. So this is the exercise that we want to do to build up strength and to alleviate any of that sort of symptoms later on in the race. So standing up, we're going to have the Dynaband looped around our 2 legs. I'm going to work the right side, so we're just going to step out and then back in, and you just step out. So it's just really stressed across, and as I go out I can feel I'm working those glutes. As I come out, I'll feel it coming into the stress coming into that glute and external rotators in that hip. So you can go out, you can get fancy with it, you can kind of go back at different angles depending on which way you want to work. You can just go straight out, or you can go one on the left and then take it in and do one on the right. You can mess around with it. You can go backwards and then change over, or you can bring it forwards to get a little bit more anterior, but you're still getting those glutes. The real important thing with this exercise is that when you're returning back to the midline, you're really stabilizing with those external rotators. So it's a fantastic exercise in terms of worrying about fatigue or the lack of fatigue accumulating later on in the race. So that's it with those 3 exercises. They're pretty straightforward, they're pretty simple, they're very easy to do, and they're very, very effective. So if it is a case that you have some sort of knee issues, I would suggest doing these exercises 3 or 4 days a week. Take you about 3 minutes a day to do them, and over a couple of weeks, if you do them, I would do them after your run or on the days that you're not running, you will definitely notice some big differences in your run training and your knee stability and strength. Anyway, like I said guys, run far, run fast, but most of all, run sensible.